The foods that centenarians in the Blue Zone have consumed their entire lives will be the main topic of this video. We'll concentrate on the top 5 foods that are motivating, attainable, and accessible to everyone in the world. You might be able to live happily and healthily up to the age of 100 by taking on some of their behaviors. What exactly is a Blue Zone? There are a few places on Earth, known as Blue Zones, where individuals appear to live longer than usual without adhering to any stringent regimens, exorbitant supplements, or demanding daily schedules. The difference is that while Americans may prioritize their health, those who live in these Blue Zones tend to live longer. These long-lived individuals are merely a result of their surroundings. Okinawa, Japan; Sardinia, Italy; Nicoya, Costa Rica; Icaria, Greece; and Loma Linda, California, United States, are the original 5 Blue Zones. These regions have a culture and heritage that naturally support the healthy lifestyles of the people who live there. Singapore's new Blue Zone is a constructed Blue Zone where citizens enjoy healthy, long lives thanks to health-conscious measures. So let's find out what the habits are, with a focus on the eating behaviors you may readily adopt at home. But let's talk about the most important activity first: walking. New exercise program for residents of the Blue Zones. They walk whenever they go to the office, a friend's residence, or a restaurant. They manually carry out yard labor and housework. My team surmises that they move naturally every 20 to 30 minutes because they frequently have gardens in the backyard. The total number of calories consumed during the day is significantly more than if they had worked all day in addition to going to the gym. They are burning fat without even realizing it because they are maintaining a greater metabolism throughout. Did you know that 15 minutes a day of exercise is the absolute minimum for adults? However, only 23% of Americans meet the requirement. So let's start moving, which should also aid in our ability to chew and assimilate our food. Top 5 meals for Blue Zones. Dan Buettner reverse-engineered longevity after 2 decades of study. He located Blue Zones and looked at the top meals that centenarians there have consumed throughout the course of their lifetimes. The top 5 foods for lifespan that you can start preparing in your kitchen right away are listed below. Top 1 Blue Zone food: people who live to 100. Eat plants first. It would be necessary to know what people consume throughout their entire lives if you wanted to know what 100-year-olds ate to live to that age. According to dietary studies conducted over the past 100 years in each of the 5 Blue Zones, the majority of residents eat a diet high in whole foods and plants. People in the Blue Zones take advantage of an amazing range of garden-fresh veggies during their peak season and cleverly preserve the extra through pickling or drying, assuring a supply all year round. Surprisingly, vegetables make up the majority of their diet, roughly 95 to 100% of what they consume each day. The colorful leafy greens including spinach, kale, beet, and turnip tops, chard, and collards are among the standouts of this green array. The majority of people who live in the Blue Zone prefer plant-based cooking oils. Olive oil is unquestionably the most popular option in these areas, despite the fact that our study team is unable to say with certainty that it is the only healthy plant-based option. According to research, ingesting olive oil can increase levels of good cholesterol while lowering levels of bad cholesterol. We found that middle-aged people in Korea who drank about 6 tablespoons of olive oil per day appeared to cut their risk of mortality in half. There is some good news for those of you who can't completely give up meat. They do eat meat, but shockingly infrequently, only around 5 times per month. And we can say that because we've averaged all of these dietary studies conducted over the past 100 years in all Blue Zones. Therefore, eating flesh is somewhat festive. Top 2 food. A handful of nuts is equivalent to around 2 years of life expectancy. And if you eat a cup of beans a day, you're probably receiving all of your protein and most of your fiber, as well as an additional 4 years of life expectancy. Black beans and Nicoya lentils, garbanzo and white beans in the Mediterranean, and soybeans found in extremely firm tofu in Okinawa served as the foundation of longevity diets all over the world. In the Blue Zones, bean consumption is at least 4 times higher than it is in the United States as a whole. Approximately 21% protein, 77% complex carbohydrates, the kind that gives you energy over the long term, rather than the fast bursts from processed carbohydrates like white flour, and only a little amount of fat make beans truly superfoods. They also contain a lot of fiber. The best food for aging is complex carbs, which make up 2/3 of their calories. In addition to being affordable and adaptable, beans also come in a variety of textures and have the highest nutritional density of any food on the world. Additionally, beans include the majority of the vitamins and minerals that you require. Real food. Top 3 food. Whole foods are typically consumed by residents in blue zones. The same is true of Singapore. By providing subsidies for wholesome whole foods, the government actively promotes this practice in this new blue zone. People are encouraged to purchase whole foods with lots of nutrients rather than more heavily processed goods as a result. Whole food can be summed up as a single ingredient product that has not undergone considerable processing and can be consumed raw, boiled, ground, or fermented. Blue Zone recipes typically use a small number of expertly mixed ingredients. Surprisingly, most of the foods consumed by centenarians in the Blue Zones originate about 10 miles from their homes. Their diet includes uncooked fruits and vegetables, self-ground whole grains cooked slowly, and the use of age-old fermentation techniques to increase the bioavailability of nutrients. Their diets prominently lack artificial preservatives, as evidenced by their intake of tofu, sourdough bread, alcohol, and pickled veggies. Top 4 snack food. Have some nuts as a snack. Eat some nuts as a snack. Consume 2 handfuls of nuts each day as a snack. The amount of nuts that Blue Zone centenarians typically eat is 1 handful. Almonds in Korea and Sardinia, pistachios in Nicoya, and all nuts among Adventists. The Adventist Health Study also discovered that nut eaters live an average of 2 to 3 years longer than non-nut eaters. Consider adding almonds, which are high in magnesium and vitamin E, peanuts, which are high in protein and folate, a crucial B vitamin, Brazil nuts, which are notable for their selenium content, which has been shown to be effective in preventing prostate cancer, cashews, which are a great source of magnesium, and walnuts, which are high in alpha-linoleic acid. They avoid eating one food. They have clearly generated the results we want in Singapore, or what Dan Buettner refers to as Blue Zone 2.0. They simply live in an environment where good food is subsidized and junk food is taxed. It relates to sugar consumption on a broad scale. The Singaporean government cut the quantity of sugar in sweetened beverages and put labels for healthy foods to products with low levels of sodium, fat, and sugar. Dan makes the point that this encourages people to consume less sugar blindly. In the Blue Zones, sugar consumption is deliberate rather than habitual or unintentional. People who wake up with a direction in life are living about 8 years longer than people who are rudderless. Nonetheless, making positive changes to our diet might be the simplest step we can take towards achieving a healthy, long life.